In this video, I'm going to show you how you can release your music to all of the online streaming platforms in 2022 using DistroKid. Yeah, this video is not sponsored by DistroKid, but they are a channel sponsor, so full disclosure on that up front. And if you want to find out a bunch more information about releasing your music with DistroKid, jump on over to my DistroKid FAQ at studiolivetoday.com/DistroKid. And while you're there, if you're not using DistroKid to release your music yet, you can get yourself 7% off your first year on any DistroKid plan by following the link up the top there. You've then got a bunch of videos, a bunch of support there, and my 10 most frequently asked questions about releasing music online. All that being said, let's dive in and get started. So what we're covering in this video is preparing your audio file, making sure you've got the right settings in that audio file to release, preparing your album artwork. There's some things you need to keep in mind with that. The actual uploading process to DistroKid, and then the sharing and the promoting. And look, that's not my strong point, but we'll talk a little bit about it. So if you've got any questions and you get to the end of this video, do throw those down in the comments below. I'm always lurking around there and ready to answer your questions. So number one, the audio file that you need. So you've created your song, you've done it in GarageBand or Pro Tools or Reaper or Cakewalk, I don't care where you've made it, you've got your final song, you've mixed it down and you've mastered it. Or have you mastered it? So the first recommendation I'll have here is to master your final track. So for me, I use my iPad, and this is my iPad Pro. I use an app called Final Touch for my mastering by Positive Grid. So this is the app here. It's got pre-EQ, and it's got a stereo imager. It's got dynamic processing. It's got a maximizer. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in here that's going to help you to get your song to its final level. And then because I use my iPad here, I use Audio Share here. And what I did is I first mastered it, and I'm like, look at that waveform. I'm like, oh no, this porridge is too hot. And then I grabbed this one. I'm like, oh, but this porridge is too cold. And then I mix them two together and I got this, which is just right. So with your master, you want to have a decent balance. You want to have it loud enough. Because if you're not familiar with mastering is about getting your audio levels up to a competitive volume to make it radio ready. So if you want to learn more about mastering, heap of videos down here in the description. You can check those out. But basically, you want your audio file to be in its best pristine condition. You don't want it to be complete sausage waveform with no dynamics, but you don't want it to have a whole bunch of holes and dips in there. Otherwise, it's not going to be radio ready and competitive with other people when you're releasing them. Now, you want your audio files to be uncompressed. Uncompressed means a WAV file or an AIF file, something that's not an MP3 file or an M4A file. The reason for that is when we're uploading it, which you'll see in a moment, it will be compressed. When it goes out to Spotify and to Apple Music and to Amazon and all these places, they compress it. So if you compress it and then they compress it, it gets double compressed and you're going to lose more quality. So whenever you've got an option for compressed or uncompressed, you want to go with an uncompressed WAV file. That's going to be your best possibility. You want it to be 24-bit. 16-bit is okay, but 24-bit is probably what you want to go with, and at least 44.1 kilohertz. You can go to 48 or 96 or 192. If that means nothing to you, just look at the numbers when you're exporting it. Go WAV file, and then select at least 44.1 and 24-bit. You'll export your file and you'll be good to go. So I've done that and I've sent it over here to my Mac and I'm ready to go. You can upload from a Mac or a PC. You can upload from a mobile device. Your mileage may vary. If you are uploading from mobile, use a desktop browser. So you can use something like iCab mobile browser, or if you're using Safari or Chrome, make sure it's in desktop mode. You'll get better success. Now, what if you don't know anything about mastering? You've finished your final mix and you're like, Pete, I don't want any of this hassle. Well, I actually tried something out this week and it was BandLab's online mastering. So this works pretty well. You throw your final mix in here, you hit the plus button there, you import your track, and then you can try 4 different styles of mastering. If you're a patron of mine, you would have seen this on a Patreon show, and I will show it again in the future. The limitation of this is you do get a 16-bit master. So it's free, but the trade-off is it's only going to be 16-bit. However, if it's the difference between having a mixed track that's not going to be mastered, and therefore not going to be the quality that you want it, or a mastered one at 16-bit, I would use this. So yeah, again, not sponsored by BandLab, but they're pretty cool. And when I tested this out, it worked pretty well to get your file. So I've got my file. Let's jump over here. I've downloaded it. If we come and look at this, this screen here, there it is. There's the final version. First thing I want to do is make sure that it's actually going to play correctly and that it's clipped and it's doing everything the way it wants to be. Not clipped, but trimmed in the right way. So what I'm going to do, we'll open this one up. We'll just open it with our QuickTime player or whatever audio player you're using. Bring this over here and let's hit play and take a listen. You've got an ego that drives me so crazy. Cool. It's all good. So you'll notice there at the start that I gave it about half a second on the audio file. So when you're trimming and editing your audio file, you don't want it to start at the precise time. Reason for that is some of your platforms will ramp it up. Have you ever heard that on something where it goes, bleh? So you don't want that ramp up to be that first epic chord, especially for a song like this. If it's fading in with that cool like pick scrape slide down, that's not going to be cool. So give yourself about that and then just check your end to make sure the end doesn't sort of cut off abruptly. Make sure you've trimmed it correctly at the end. So let's take a listen to the end of the file. There you go. I faded it out. Not too quickly, not too slowly. I think our audio file is good. So you've got yourself an audio file prepared. You are ready to rock and roll. What's next? Well, you need some album artwork, yeah? So we're going to show you the way that I create album artwork here for my songs. Now, the easiest way that I've personally found is to use something called canva.com. Now, there's a bunch of other tools. You can use Photopea, you can use GIMP, you can use a whole bunch of free editing tools. Photoshop if you've got an Adobe subscription. But if you're just starting out or if you're new to this sort of thing, here's what you need to do with your album artwork, and that is to keep it simple. So you don't want to do a few things. You don't want to use other people's copyrighted material. You don't want to go to Google image search and find a cool image and use that because you're going to run into trouble. Those are copyrighted images. If you release to a lot of these platforms and they identify a copyrighted image, then you're in trouble. You also don't want to use brand names, logos, hashtags, @symbols, websites. Think about album covers that you used to see as actual CDs or records and try and replicate something along those lines. Doesn't mean you have to be like everyone else. You can be unique, but simple is better, especially when you're releasing your first song or you're getting stuff out there. So I use canva.com. There is a link down in the description, and I use the full paid version here. So if you want to use the pro version, you get a whole lot more tools here. And as you can see, all of the different thumbnails and all the album artwork and all the creative stuff that I do here on the channel is all done using canva.com. But I'm going to jump into a free account here just so that you can see that even if you haven't paid for the pro version, you can actually do some pretty neat stuff here in canva.com. So what I'm going to do is create a brand new design. Now, here's a tip. Regardless of what you're using, don't use... If you come in here and you go CD cover or album artwork, see how it's got these CD covers here? Don't use them because they're usually at a lower resolution than what the streaming platforms will need. If they're at 1000 by 1000, or in this case 1400 by 1400 pixels, that is not enough. It needs to be at least 3000 by 3000. So that's rule number one. If you do nothing else, if you listen to nothing else about your album artwork, do that. So we're going to, instead of using this, we're going to hit this custom size button here. And we're going to say, let's make this 3000 by 3000 pixels. And we're going to hit create new design. So what we can do now is use a bunch of tools that we have here in Canva. So there's a bunch of stuff you can go into, which we won't go into. You can upload your own photos. You can use the photos that are here within Canva. There's a whole bunch of photos. And now the key thing here is that some will have free next to them, and some won't. So if you want to use them, you need to make sure that they're the free photos. To make sure that you don't get yourself into any trouble, what I recommend to start with is just do a really basic design. So I would use just a background. Again, you can check all these backgrounds. Some of them are free. The ones that don't have free there, if you try to add them like that, you'll see they'll have a watermark. So you don't want that. You don't want a big Canva watermark on your first record that you're releasing. But if we go with something like, this song's called Toxic Ego. So let's go with something like this. That's a pretty cool background, yeah? But here's the thing, I wouldn't just use it on its base value, because what you can do is you can hit this edit image button and you can start tweaking it. So I'd at least throw a filter on this. So let's just test a few filters. We want maybe something, oh, that's pretty cool. So see how that's kind of changed it up a little bit. And then you can come in and do some more editing, so you can adjust all sorts of things here. So let's just push the contrast up a little bit more. There you go. So now we've created something more custom to us. Now we just need to put some text on here. So let's grab the text tool. I kind of like this glow one here, so let's hit this. Oh, that's not bad. So we'll type in the name. So Toxic Ego is the name of the track. And then it's literally just drag and drop placement here. So we'll move this around. We'll put it up to the top here. We'll make it big like that. That's not too bad, but not too keen on that color scheme. So we can adjust the colors here. So we need a lighter, more contrasting color. So we'll just tap on here. What about some of the? Oh, there you go. One of these brown colors that's come in here. That's pretty cool. Is that effect the one we want? Maybe. Let's go to the effects. I actually think that instead of the neon, let's go this lift. Yeah, no, that's not working with the color scheme. So what if we go lift and there? Now we're getting there. That's it. We've got that real contrast going on there. So Toxic Ego, I like it. We'll copy that one and paste it, just using our Control-C, Control-V, and let's just put my name. We don't need my name in lights that big, so we're going to smallen it. And you can see how simple it is. Within the space of about 3 minutes, I've created something that is 100% usable, and you can see you've got cool things there, like it'll center it. See those little pink lines? It centers your text. It does everything that you need it to do. And I don't know, but I might actually use that as my album artwork. What do you reckon? I'm going to use it. So once we've done this, we just need to download it. So download here, I would suggest that you use JPEG. It's the most universal type that we can use. And the thing is here, with the free version, is it'll only give you this quality at 80%. If you want that quality to go all the way up to 100%, or if you want to increase the size here, you do need the Pro version. But this is going to suffice for what we need. So we'll download that one. It is a JPEG of Toxic Ego. That's going to download and be ready for us to use in our project. So we'll just click it down here and make sure it's going to pop up. There it is. Boom. Nice. Done. Easy as that. So there is your album artwork ready to rock and roll. We've got our audio file ready. We've got our album artwork ready. We are ready to release and jump over to DistroKid and upload this track. So let's jump over here. We're going to grab DistroKid and we're going to open it up here and see what we've got. So when you sign up to DistroKid, you obviously won't have all of these. These are all the releases that I've released using DistroKid over the years. And I've released a bunch of EPs, a bunch of singles, and a full-length album. And the beauty of DistroKid is that you can do all this for one yearly fee. So the Musician plan is at $19.99 per year, and the Musician Plus plan, which is the one that I use, is $34.99 per year. Now, the reason that I recommend the Musician Plus plan, if you can afford the extra dollars per year, is that you get some additional tools. And we'll go through what those are when we're releasing. They're things like changing your release date, changing the name of your record label, and a bunch of other things that you'll see as we go through here. So let's hit the upload button. This is the key to releasing music on DistroKid. Hit upload. And you're presented with this. So first of all, yes, my account's priority. As I've mentioned before, DistroKid are a channel sponsor, but that just means that they are sponsor the channel, and you know that because you see that. So if you ever see anyone that's releasing music and you see that, you know that they're a DistroKid sponsor. So or they're sponsored by DistroKid. The services that we have here, we've got a whole bunch of different things, and you can choose. You can select and unselect different ones by just selecting and unselecting. We're going to leave all of them on except for this one. I'm actually removing this because I'm doing an experiment by not releasing it to Instagram and Facebook to see, because Facebook have a strange kind of copy content ID system, so I'm going to remove that. Snapchat, we're going to add back in. Now, you can only release the Snapchat if you own 100% of the publishing. I do, so I'm going to add it. Next up, number of songs. 1, a single. And obviously, if you're releasing an EP of 6 songs, or if you're releasing an album, you can select that, and it's up to 35 songs. So an album can be anywhere up to 35 songs. Has it been previously released? No. And here's the thing, if you have previously released it, make sure you tick yes there, and you will want to put the original release date there. Be very, very careful though, because if you release something, pull it down, and then try to re-release it for no reason, the streaming platforms, especially Apple Music and Spotify, don't like that. They don't want people, because what folks have been doing is trying to re-release the same song over and over again with a few slight tweaks so that they can try and get on playlists. It's like, let's just keep trying. By the 5th time, maybe I'll get on a playlist. Don't do that. It'll be bad. It won't end well for you. Eventually, it'll just get banned and you won't be able to release it at all. So, yeah, be warned. All right, so I'm already in Spotify and Apple Music. If you're not, and if you're releasing for the first time, you put your name in there, and as soon as you submit it, DistroKid does all that behind the scenes. So you don't have to go and set up a Spotify account. You don't have to go and set up an Apple Music account. All of that is handled once you hit the submit button. It does take a little while, maybe a couple of weeks to get everything hunky-dory, but it will all be done for you. The release date. Now, this is all important. Normally, when I've done this in the past, I just release it straight away. And if you're using the musician plan, you'll have no choice. It'll basically be today's date. You'll have to release it straight away. However, as it says here, so setting your release date at least 1 week into the future increases your chance of getting added to playlists. So what day are we going to choose? We're going to release this on February the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. I've got a song called Toxic Ego. I just thought that was too fitting to not do. So Spotify allows you to do a release time, so we can select the time that we want it to be released here, and we can do the either sync in the listener's time zone or simultaneously. So what I'm going to do, because I'm usually live around 9:30 in the morning my time, I'm going to go 9:30 a.m. Oh, that's in New York. So we'll actually go 2 p.m. New York, because that's the time. No, it's not. It's 5 p.m. Sorry, I'm getting my East Coast, West Coast stuff confused. 5, not a.m., but p.m. So 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. That's when I'm usually hanging out here, similar to what I am today. Now, you can select pre-order, so we can have pre-order on iTunes and Amazon. Let's let people pre-order, and pre-order start date can be tomorrow. Okay, so you can pre-order it 11 days beforehand. This one here, the record label, you'll only get this one if you're on the Musician Plus plan. Otherwise, it will just release under DK number records. So if you want your own record label, if you've always wanted to own Fire Beats Productions, then guess what? You can own Fire Beats Productions and stick it there. Now, here's where we need to have that stuff we prepared earlier. So we know if we click on here, what we can do, there it is. There's our Toxic Ego image. It is 3000 by 3000. It's looking good. I'm going with it. I designed that literally in 3 minutes today. So we'll go with that one because it's nice and simple. It's nice and clean and clear, and it's very low charts. The busier it is and the more stuff you have going on there and the more images you're using, especially if they're ones that you don't own, the more likely you are to have issues with your album artwork. So keep that in mind. Language is English. Now here's the genres. This is where it gets fun, because this one I can finally say alternative is the first genre, and we're going to go with rock. So it's an alternative rock song. So we're going to go alternative and rock, because why not? This is where you need to be very, very careful. We need to carefully type in Toxic Ego. We need to check our spelling. We need to check our punctuation. Follow all of the rules that they give you. Jump over to the FAQ if you've got questions about your titling. But don't put hashtags. Don't put @ symbols. Don't put anything weird in your title. Again, the more stuff you put in there, the less likely it is to go through successfully without a hitch. So you want that. So don't know years. And if you're putting featured artists, make sure that you follow. So I've got no featured artists. If I did, it'll actually help you add the featured artists and the versions. So if you do have more versions, you can do this. You've got a radio edit. If you've got an explicit version, you can set all of that there. Here's the important part, of course, it's the file. We need to make sure that the file is correct and hunky-dory and sounding good. So we're going to go choose file. We're going to grab this one here, which is the mastered wave file that we've got. It's going to pop that there. At this point, what I usually do is jump back over, because I'm a paranoid dude, and I don't know about you, but I like to double check things. So I come back here and I do that same test I did before. I come in here, I'll open it up in the QuickTime player, and we'll play this one. We'll go to the very start and we'll play. You got it. Yep, and we'll go to the very end and make sure it's all good. Yep. If anything, I probably should have faded it out an extra second, but it's okay. We're committed now. We're good. But the reason I do that is one time I released a song that had a big pop at the start, and I didn't realize until it was on all the streaming platforms. And then I had to just jump through a lot of hoops to get that sorted. All right, songwriter's real name, music and lyrics. Here's what we can do. We can just put my name, because that's my name. So I'm going to put my name there, and you can add multiple songwriters if they exist there. Explicit? No. Weirdly, I did one where I put hip hop, and it defaulted to yes. So I don't know if that's just to save time, because the majority of hip-hop songs are explicit, but it's a bit funny that, whenever I've released singer-songwriter and folk music, it's like, no. And then I released a hip-hop song and it's like, yes. And I'm like, it's a little bit of a generalization there. Is this a radio edit? No, it's clean and always has been. Is it instrumental? No, it contains lyrics. Preview clip start time. I'm actually going to tell people, I want this to start, because the hook and the chorus of this starts at 0. I want it to actually start. When people preview it, I don't want it to be some bit in the middle that's like the breakdown or the bridge. I want it to be the start. So this time, I'm going to use 0. The track price here, I'm going to leave it at 99 cents. There's only 3 different settings you have there, so we'll just go with 99 cents there. Now, these are the final options. These have changed a little bit over time, so pay attention if you haven't looked at these before. You've got your YouTube content ID. I've got a whole bunch of videos here. If you want to learn more about this, search my name, Pete Johns, and YouTube Content ID. The short version of this is, if you add this for $5 or $4.95 per year, then 80% of any revenue generated by a video that is using your song and is monetized and part of the YouTube Content Partner Program will get paid to you. That sounds like a mouthful, but in simple terms, if you think your song is going to be used by very large YouTube content creators in their videos, then do this. If you don't think your song is going to be used by very large, and the reason I say very large is if I'm using your song and it gets 1,000 views and I make 46 cents, then you're going to get paid 80% of 46 cents for going to the effort of doing this. So I've seen lots of people tick this and then regret it because they make about 12 cents in royalties. So consider that carefully before you do it. Store Maximizer, this just means DistroKid will automatically put your music out there to all the different stores if some are added. You don't have to do this because you can actually go back and manually do it yourself. But if you're lazy or if you just want the convenience, you can hit that and they'll do that. Social phone number is a new service. I don't use it because I'm not in the US. But if you do want to start to get yourself text and be able to text in and out to your fans, you can try that out. I don't do it, but you can try it. We've got loudness normalization. So increases audio level per Spotify's recommendation, -4 dB. This sets your volume of your track to a competitive level without adding distortion or clipping. So if you haven't mastered, if you're not confident that your audio is going to sit in the right spot and be right, then you can use that. It's a new feature. I've not ever used it. I do need to try it out. It does look cool. And look, if you've just thrown your track straight from GarageBand or iTunes or Pro Tools and you haven't mastered it, and you hear at this point, go, oh, okay, yeah, I'll pay that $3 to get the loudness normalization. But really, most Audio Share and most audio editors will do loudness normalization by default. So yeah, it's a thing. Shazam and iPhone Siri, again, if you want people to be able to find your song, you can pay 99 cents per year to do that. Title Master MQA, $8.99 one-time fee, and that encodes your audio using MQA, which gives it the master badge on Tidal. So if you're interested in that, if you've got a lot of fans on Tidal and other services, you can do that. And the Leave a Legacy means that even if you are no longer with us, even if your DistroKid account lapses, it'll stay up there. Because here's the thing, because DistroKid's a subscription service, if you are no longer around or if you don't pay your DistroKid subscription fee, then your music will eventually be taken down. And obviously you won't be paid the royalties because that's an important consideration to keep in mind. So if you do want to do that, you can go ahead and leave a legacy. This is the point now where we do the drum roll. And before I do this, so I'm going to select all these. You can read these in your own time. Hit pause and read these. These are basically just all the stuff that I said, all the warnings, all of the caveats, making sure that you've ticked all the boxes, literally ticked all the boxes. So we'll come back to the top. I do one final scan just to make sure everything's hunky-dory. So we'll come down here. It's a song. It's not been released. It's me. I've got all my stuff there. It's coming out on the 14th of February. It's coming out at 5 p.m. New York time and simultaneously in other countries. So everyone at 5 o'clock Valentine's Day, just before you head out for that date with your sweetheart, you can listen to Toxic Eco. Pre-orders available as of tomorrow. Studio Live Today Records. There's the album artwork that we just created there, which I think will fit the bill. Alternative and rock. TOXIC space EGO. Correct capitalization, correct spelling. We are not wanting to show any other artist titles. It is a normal version. We've got the file there ready to go. We've got, no, we don't want that. We wrote the song, or me, I wrote the song. No explicit lyrics, not a radio edit, not an instrumental. And there's the clip time, 99 cents. Haven't ticked any of those, ticked all of those, and we're good to go. So look, that was 10 minutes. So yes, you can say, oh no, it's 8 minutes. I did that pretty slowly. I would do that in about a third the time if I was doing it myself and not explaining each step. So it's actually pretty darn cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to roll the drums and we're going to hit the done button and hope like heck, because we're doing it live, that it all went through okay. You ready? I'm ready. Let's do it. So it's verifying, it's uploading. There goes our album artwork. The album artwork is uploading to DistroKid's servers. Once it's happy with that, it's going to upload the track. Now it's only a 2.5 minute track, so it's only about 40 megabytes. So if you're uploading an EP or a whole album, it's going to take a long time to do. So, but this way, and it depends on your internet connection as well. So I've got a Australian NBN, which means I've got moderately fast internet connection, which means it'll upload moderately quickly. But we'll see how we go. We'll wait for this to finish, and then you'll see the final thing. Because obviously, once this has been uploaded, that's when you need to go into sharing and promotion mode. And when I say sharing and promotion, not annoying people, not filling everyone's feeds with, come and listen to my track. but doing strategic promotion. So there it is. As it always says, done. That was easy, wasn't it? I think so, DistroKid. Your release date is cutting it close. We're sending the single to stores and make it live on February 14. So what I'll say there is if you have more time, as it says down here, 4 weeks is optimal. So if you can give it even more space to breathe, even more time, the more time you can give it, the better. It gives you more time to promote, more time to submit to playlists, more time to promote and hype and tell people about your song. But if not, just put it out there. So yeah, it all depends on that, but keep that in mind. And now what we've got here is that we've got a pre-save page. So DistroKid give you a very cool hyper follow feature that you can use. So if we open this little link in a new tab, it's going to go to our preview page. And what I can do there, as you can see there, is distrokid.com/hyperfollow/toxic-ego. And for those that are watching here live, I'll throw that here in the chat right now. You can go and pre-save and do your thing. And if you're watching on the replay, it'll be right there in the description, ready for you to check out. So available on February the 14th. You can Spotify preview it if you're pre-save it if you're a Spotify user. And yes, it will share your email address with the artist. So keep that in mind if you want to do that. If you don't, just untick it and do that. And then as it starts landing on platforms on the 14th of February, it will actually start populating out more places here. So I'll show you what that means. If we go back to DistroKid, so yep, that's all done and good to go. If we go back to DistroKid, we'll go to My Music. If we go to a different one, so there it is. It's yellow at the moment, which means it's pending. So that's totally cool. It's yellow, it means it's processing. All these ones that are green are good. They're done. So once that's processed, we'll get some emails. It'll come into our inbox. They'll say, congratulations, it's all a success. Or it'll say, no, your audio file was bad, your album artwork was bad, something was bad. So we're hoping that that'll turn to green very soon. Usually takes about 24 hours and then you'll get the green go ahead. So just keep an eye on your email. Make sure that you've got the right email address and you're checking your emails. A lot of folks, when they've had trouble, is because they've registered with DistroKid with a different email address and then they haven't actually realized that DistroKid have emailed them saying your album artwork was rejected, please resubmit. And then they're back to it. So if you're wondering about that, so here's my previous song, Work in Progress, and how that hyperfollow link looks if you've released it before is if we come in here and visit this one, is it looks like this. So it'll then start adding all of the different bits here. So I've just got this on Apple Music, iTunes, and YouTube, but you can come in here and edit that and customize it and make it have whatever you want. And as you can see there, a portion of royalties are automatically donated to Artists for Change, which is another DistroKid feature that's very cool. There are a heap more DistroKid features, and I've got a whole heap of videos. So down in the description, there is a bunch of videos all about DistroKid, all about releasing using DistroKid. So if you want to get your music out there, once again, head over to the DistroKid FAQ at studiolivetoday.com/DistroKid. Use the link there or down in the description of this video to save yourself 7% off your first year on any DistroKid plan. I hope you found this useful and jump down into the comments. Leave any questions you have there. Hit like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Happy releasing.